The rise of Africa, the continent, The rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us. Stand with us. Help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
All right, can you hear me? Testing, testing. Shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Sorry, there's some technical things going on with my introduction. So please forgive me on that one. We are getting ready to relaunch the Q2A website. It is Q2A.I or Q2AINTL.org. Q2AINTL.org. I'll be making sure that everything reflects from my the commercials and intros and things of that nature. That's part of the issue that we had to go through to get things worked on out. Was able to find a Nigerian brother on Fiverr, and he was able to hook some things on up. So that's an awesome thing to see. Our people on the continent have great technical skills for those particular endeavors. So I'm praying that by the end of this week, our website should be fully functional for Q2A over at Q2AINTL.org. So greetings again. I was, and I had seen some of you all's emails this weekend. I know that I could have gone on probably yesterday. A lot of things were popping off. I was getting the emails. Hey, did you see this? See the strikes over there in Iran? See what's going on here? The strikes in Israel. And I'm gonna say this, I think, for sake of now that people understand the geographic implications. I'm hoping YouTube won't censor me with being able to say or state those particular things. But I'm going to tell you this. All of this goes to show when you are looking at what's happening. Again, I've always stated we can look. You want to look at times and seasons and things of that nature. Yes, we read the word. We get the understanding because the Most High gives that to us after we do what? We meditate on the word. You have to come through. You have to ask the Most High, Father, what and how and why? Why is this happening? What is happening? And you have a lot of people just right now that I'm looking at, in my opinion, that are very lost because they can't really quite understand what's happening and why it is impacting them and affecting them because, well, their pastor had stated that nothing bad was going to happen. Their pastor had stated that things are it's just the way it is because why? Because their 501c3 had directed them to state that. And yes, brother Yafon, oh my goodness. Shalom, shalom. He said here, Bob Almendeb Strait. Yes. The Red Sea is now in danger of being closed off. And I want to get to these articles because these articles, to me, they show what is and why things are happening. So the first one comes from the New York Times. Please forgive me because whatever. I'm gonna have to like clear some caches. Doing a little bit more maintenance on the computer. Oh, all right. It looks like I'm not able to share links anymore. Okay, welcome to the age of censorship. That's interesting. So you guys got to take my word for it because I can't share this link anymore. According to YouTube. Okay. But this is from New York Times as of June 6th, June 7th, from an Aaron Boxerman. Israel bombs Beirut's outskirt as fighting with Hezbollah escalates. U.S. efforts for a truce in Lebanon appear to have stalled. Israel accused Hezbollah of firing at Israeli territory. Iran swiftly retaliated. And this is a bombing there in Hezbollah, or excuse me, in a Hezbollah controlled area of southern Lebanon on the outskirts of Beirut. So within hours, Iran retaliated, firing ballistic missiles at northern Israel. The Israeli military said in the first such attack since a ceasefire paused the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran 2 months ago. Well, Iran had said this. If you stop shooting, we'll stop shooting. I mean, that only seems fair. Especially if somebody is starting to fight, and even though they may still be getting their behinds whooped and they're still swinging, hey, you still got to fight. The fight's not over. But when that person says, "Okay, I'm gonna breathe a little bit so I can get my wind up," and then they want to start fighting, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to retaliate. Hey, and you're not just fighting me. Look, stop picking on my friends too. So I don't know. You talk to some people, they don't get that analogy. The escalation was the latest setback to the Trump administration's efforts to broker a truce in Lebanon, as well as to forge a broader peace deal with Iran. Uh, I'm just gonna say this: if you think that a peace deal with Iran is on its way, um, you're there's some troubles. You may have to think about some of those things. Oh, okay. It did that one. It may be New York Times. Yeah. So I'm going to share this. All right. So, oh, so I just lost it. All right. Bear with me. Sorry, family. This has certainly been an issue today. Yeah. Well, that's the sentiment. For remix my song. He states here, who makes a deal with a man who deleted your father, your wife, and your little girl? Them folks are stupid if they believe a deal will get done. Exactly. No, that's to me personally speaking, that's the issue. You're never going to have that. Now, the reality is actually this: in order to do that, just a plausible reality, but it will never be done. Shout out to Yakoba. Because we're dealing with the man of peace, supposedly. They're dealing with their messiah. Um, you would have to like scrap any and all things. Hey, we can't even negotiate with you anymore. until you get a new administration in, until you get a new government in, until you revamp everything. We can't negotiate with you. You've shown it way too many times over these last how many years? 400? Now 250. And now we've been saying this for quite a while. And yesterday, Gates of Holder beautifully broke this down. They were fighting for our ancestors here in the United States were fighting for human rights, but they packaged it as civil rights, when it's just literally it's human rights. The right to live in decency and dignity without being in fear. That's a human right. And now all that's going by the wayside. You all see it with what's happening with our brother Carmelo Anthony, our young nephew on out there in Frisco, Texas. We saw it just happen to a young man, 14-year-old. And what that is, behold, we hold ourselves not guilty. We're not guilty. I'm sorry you feel that way, but we're not guilty. And now you can see the hypocrisy on full display. Because let that have been any of us. And we walk a lot. I'm going to tell you this. It's now getting to, it's appalling. It's appalling. It's frightening. And, for the cause of boycott and boycotting, honestly, who says that it's not justified? And that's the reality. If they do that, that's going to be the Cameron Daniel treatment. Asa says the lawyer that defended the unaliver was a Hebrew. Remember that whole thing with Daniel Can't, or was it Cameron Daniels or whatever his name was in Kentucky? Tried to run for Senate or governor. Oh, I thought I had Trump. Trump had my back and all this other stuff. Well, that's very unfortunate. You could tell he was going to get ready to cry. I thought that I had my butter biscuit card. I'm very disappointed. I thought I was going to get the nod for Trump. I thought I was in. And you can tell that we are such a destroyed people that when something like that happens, we'll literally defend something that will, it's going to end up biting us. It's going to end up biting us. Aren't you afraid that if you defend this, that could happen to you? No, it won't happen to me. I'm not all that. And then when it does happen to them, some people like to say karma. I don't say that. I personally don't believe in karma, but I'll say this: it's divine retribution. That's judgment. Because why? Because you've condemned yourself. Well, I mean, it's just a job, it's just a paycheck. If you say so, that's to me is not where you want to hang up your dilemma hat. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's a buddy of mine. He's in the chaplain corps. He's in the chaplain corps. Sorry, I'm tangenting quite a lot. And I was joking with him. I said I said how is it the Trump Testament? Of course he was laughing and joking about that, and I told him I said in the reality it's actually not even a joke. It's really not funny. But that is what you're seeing right now. It's a dogma, it's some sort of a it's a dogmatic approach because when people say white supremacy is it's a construct of vanity, and a vanity is actually the religion of serving yourself. The religion, okay? The dogma, the theos of serving yourself. Yeah, vanity is a big deal. That's why you have to be very, very careful with everything. Oh, I gotta smell myself. I gotta do this. Well, Father, I did all that. So my mind. No, the most high gives you the mind. He gives you the understanding. What the most high gave these folks, he gave them us. All right, here you go. They're in trouble. But don't go too far because what's too far? There are rules to this. And they broke each and every one of them. If you're going to hold this, be prepared for the consequences. If you're going to sin against yourself, be prepared for the consequences. And that's what they did. They continued to sin against themselves. But see, the thing is, the Most High only turned his face for a little bit. And now, worldwide, these folks are going through some calamities. Pestilence, famines, plagues, wars, you name it. See, it hasn't necessarily touched us, it's indirectly touching. And when people don't know how the US economy works, and I've always asked the question like, do people actually know how the US economy works? How do you get jobs? How money and monies and flow, how finances work? They just think, well, they're gonna create jobs. You create jobs because You are working to fulfill contracts and services based off of international demand. International. That means that you are circulating that dollar outside to be able to bring dollars inside. You then attract your wealth. You don't attract wealth on the stock market. You don't. All the stock market is, when you see that it's cooked up to something like that, you're in trouble. Because why? Because they're telling you, if you've noticed, everything in besides yesterday, I have to say last week, well, it's going to be good news. It's going to be good news. And then China's like, we're not buying any more chips from the United States. As a matter of fact, we're producing chips. When that happened, all the tech stocks, it suffered. Oh, you got an IPO from Elon, and you know it's going to be $1 trillion. You want to know why? Because people are now scared. I don't know where to put my money, so I'm just going to throw my money away here. Huh? That doesn't really make sense, but it does. It doesn't make sense, but it has to, because again, everybody's playing whack-a-mole. When I when I wrote The Rise of Africa, the Continent, the Diaspora, and BRICS, I tried to write it at a level to where you don't want to just go on out there, especially as a writer, you know, even as an academic. You don't go on out there and you don't tell people, oh, it's bad news, it's bad news, it's all bad, it's all grim. Especially when you're trying to reach a more mainstream audience. But you have to be able to explain to people how they are seeing a rise against the US dollar and what that will mean for them in the near future. See, a lot of people, they don't understand the near future. Well, I got a plan and save for retirement because that's what I know how to do, is plan and save for retirement. And I'm not knocking that. That's good. That's a great thing. Because why? Because that's what they told you was to be responsible. If you're a responsible American, if you're a responsible human, but then I'm going to tell you this, back in 2007, 2008, when I started to see for retirement savings plans, and then all the companies jumped on the retirement savings plans. Because why? Because they were running out of money. They couldn't do the pensions like that anymore. If you have a pension or you're getting ready to get a pension, depending on the age and things of that nature, hallelujah, you're blessed. But right now, you now are looking at a generation that don't know anything about pensions. Oh, your 401k and your stock options and your 401k and everything else. That just means that everybody threw into a system because they couldn't really afford it. You can bring your 401k with you. What that meant to me was Those companies were very scared, very much scared, because they really didn't know how to survive or if they were going to survive. And now you have a nation that's pumping and pumping and pumping up the stocks. Well, can anybody say 1929? And the question is no, no, they can't. No, I can't say that because if I say that, what that means is I'm capitulating to reality, and my reality has to be based on vanity. It has to be based on a 1980s movie. Like, I don't know about you all, but this feels like a 40-year rerun. They're going to have a UFC fight at the White House this upcoming weekend. No, I'm not making this up. This is for real. What this gives is it gives the idea that everything is good, everything is great. Don't worry about it. Let the good times roll. And remember what I said? I said this a couple of years ago. The way that the money moves, it's like a whirlpool, right? The money gets sucked out first from all of these other countries. Then when it starts to hit here in the United States, guess who it gets sucked out from? Our community. And then when it gets sucked out of our communities, then all the other tertiary groups, the Hispanics, the Indians, Asians, then they start to feel it. They start to actually see the classic symptoms of how this thing works. I don't know why my business is bad. It's dried on up. Yeah, it's dried on up because you're not a vendor anymore, or you're not a preferred vendor. You had been a preferred vendor because they tolerated you. Well, I'd rather go with them as a people of color than black folks. And we knew the game. Black folks knew the game. We're sitting there biding our time, watching. Okay, here we go. See, we got people of color. See? Okay. And they were all nice and happy and smiling. Oh, yeah, we can make money. We can make these millions of dollars. And then they started to really feel themselves when they started to talk a whole bunch of smack on black folks. Well, why don't you all just get it together? We got it together. We came from here. We're first generation, second generation, blah, blah, blah. And we all saw it. And no, they're doing all this stuff because they don't want us to have anything. We were looking, we could articulate it. Matter of fact, because we articulated it, when you're able to articulate an argument, they get mad because you're able to articulate an argument. No, that's not what we do. No, that's not this. That's not. Then explain it to me. And then they can't explain it. Tell me, show me. Show me what I'm saying is wrong. I always get that. Well, Dad, it's not what you're saying it's wrong. It's how you're saying it. Okay. Tell me the delivery. It's like telling a person that's on drugs, hey, you need to get off of drugs because you're going to die. It's already messing up your skin. That fentanyl's already, cutting off circulations in some places. And well, it's my body, it's my right. Leave me alone. And that's what we've done. We've left them alone until they figure on out and they have that moment, because the moment is, let's just face it, they got cut off from their government assistance to where they could then purchase the drugs and alcohol. Black people, we need you. You need to stand up for us. We gotta get this. We gotta do that. We gotta. A whole bunch of we gottas. Got to. You've got to. We're invoking the name of black people. No. Sorry, that's not gonna happen. It can't happen. We saw this lesson a couple of years ago. Matter of fact, heck, let's just face it, we saw this lesson 10 years ago. We saw this slow motion moving train wreck years ago. No one here should be surprised of what we see. Did some of us get impacted? Yes, a lot of us got impacted. But we're not surprised of what we see. We saw how the vendor system was working. We saw how they were trying to do this and do all that. Look, they had even said this, what, last year? Well, DEI and unfair for contracts and small businesses and everything else, the minority status and blah, blah, blah. And they tried to make that sound real cool. And guess who was eating that up? Asians were. Until they realized that it started to affect them. Wait, hold up. It's supposed to affect black people, not us. Why has it affected us? Let me get back on track as I wildly tangented. But yes, you want to know about economic warfare? That's economic warfare. Economic warfare 101, withhold your dollars. Withhold your money. And it's going to be real ignorant of the one person that had said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," and then the reality is when we do, excuse me, patronize our businesses, and then they suffer, and then they try to issue apologies and everything else. Oh, they're going to try and issue apologies. Trust me. Sorry, that's not going to happen because we understand how everything has been impacting us and affecting us. Matter of fact, we can articulate it. We can write about it. Not just write about it, we can actually diagram. Hey, this is how this works. Hey, even Chat GPT, Claude, show us how this works. Okay, here's the game plan. I'm sure Claude will definitely not spill that. You know that was already programmed day one before they released it. Don't spill the beans on how we do white supremacy, Claude. I will not. Johnny Five is alive. All right, let me get back into the screen here. Live updates. Iranian military says it is halting offensive operations after Israel and Iran exchange fire. This is from Patrick Quinn, Siddharth Karthikeyan, Hivra Haranjski, Bridget Brown, and Sarah Abubakar. All right. Ooh. Oh, this is as of 7:37, about 30 minutes ago. The Iranian military's joint command said that it is halting its offensive operations hours after Israel and Iran began trading fire early Monday in retaliatory strikes that threatened to drag the wider Middle East back into a full-scale regional war. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels claimed an attack on Israel and said Israel affiliated vessels would be a target in the Red Sea. Tehran had warned of retaliation after Israel struck Beirut's southern suburbs without warning early Sunday. So, Israel affiliated vessels also means U.S. That's a big one. So all those vessels that they thought were going to enter in and out of the Suez Canal. Oh yeah, UK is a target. France, I don't know. Maybe they're kind of fair weather. Spain will definitely be good. So Spain is definitely good. They're probably having the time of their lives right now. Well, we made the right call a couple weeks ago, man. Our nation's doing pretty decent. And then on top of that, you had Europe that basically folded to Russia in terms of oil. And the reason why that happened, that they folded to Russia, is really quite simple. The U.S. was not, more than likely, I'm going to say this, more than likely, the U.S. was not going to fulfill its commitment of getting oil over to Europe. And one thing that the Europeans hate, they hate when their funds go, when they get, basically, let's just put it into perspective. They hate when they have loss to resources and you had basically gone back on your word in that resource loss. That's what they hate. And this is what has happened and what's happening right now. When people are like, oh, yeah, the gas prices are down. They are for now. Oh, yeah, gas prices are going to quickly be below $3. And yeah, they are for now. It's because the rest of the world isn't getting gas. And when you're not able to fulfill your obligations, somebody's going to come, and somebody's going to come with a military force to seize some assets, because nobody wants to have assets just disappear. Hey, you made this deal. You made the deal with the devil. And now all of a sudden you're getting mad. And in their madness, that's why when I tell people, I'm like, listen, um, it's not safe. And when you have these countries that label the US as the world's biggest threat, you may want to take those countries at their word. You know, again, I'm a historian. I mean, I love history. I'm not a classically trained historian, but I love history. I like to read what has transpired to try to glean information. So, you try to not make the same mistakes. But I think in this case, it's like you want to make sure that you understand so you can live through this particular time frame. And one of the things that when you actually take a look at how Pearl Harbor had transpired, they don't actually tell you all of the mechanisms that were being utilized. The US basically declared war on Japan through economic embargo of oil. And that embargo of oil had gone on for about 6 months. What Japan was trying to do, they were trying to basically hit them where it hurts in Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, to try to get people's attention like, hey, this hurts. This hurts to the point of time that we had to fight you. So consider this that warning. We're not trying to do anything else. They hit them and then they wanted to have the US de escalate. And the US said, nope, this is exactly where we want you. This is exactly how we wanted to mobilize the forces. Because what the US got mad about with Japan was that Japan was basically supporting German operations. Hey, they're paying money. They're supporting them with tanks, armament, things of that nature. And the US didn't want that. And so they said, we'll just cut them off via oil. And then the next thing you know, that war over oil led to a new ukulele. And let me tell you this, the fighting that was going on from mainland Japan, Japan saw what was coming. They had their spies. Remember the Japanese internment camps and everything else. And what was going on is that afterwards, when they realized that the U.S. was not going to negotiate, that's when they started to Japan. That's when Japan started to fortify their their colonies. So a lot of these American territories were actually Japanese territories. That's the the spoils of war per se. You get land, you get money, you get resources from that land. And then as that happened, that's when the US had the island hopping campaign. All the whiles they're still in the war against Germany, the US. Just in my opinion, I still believe that, just in my opinion, that the US was still kind of treating the Germans with kid gloves. Because, again, they were Germans. Those are literally family members for a lot of them. But, see, they saw them as they would see themselves. So they didn't produce a devastating nuclear catastrophe. But for the Japanese, nope, it was too late. It was too late. And I'm going to say this, when that happened, a lot of sociological issues happened. And a couple of weeks ago, when I saw the man in Japan who was speaking English, and he was talking to the Caucasian person, he said, "Look, you all are a cause of all this global mess." You know that message is now resonating in Japan because they were living their lives, and then they got messed up. Yeah. Granted, their debt wasn't all that great. Because don't get it twisted, they were all within a debt system of sorts. Every country that has the US dollar is in a debt system of sorts. This is why de-dollarization is part of decolonization, which is part of deglobalization, which is happening right now as we speak. The good old okey doke. It's now here. Says, yep, the US dollar is used to export debt and inflation. Yeah. And now with this new secretary or this new treasury chair, we're gonna have a debt reset. I wonder what that's gonna look like. Hey, we're just gonna tell other nations we ain't paying you anymore. Yep, time for CBDC because that's when nobody will respect the dollar. I do believe though, and this is me, and this is where I wanted to go to earlier. Is this to me? I do believe that there is a coordination effort taking place in the background because they already know where this is going. A lot of people like to discredit the word. Oh, the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible doesn't mention that. Oh, the Bible, it's just a white man's book, and now all of a sudden people are realizing that oh, these customs and these traditions are actually found in the Bible. Shout out to Brother Yakoba. Shem was in Africa. I saw that one yesterday. That came on right after Yakoba's teaching. I just thought it was funny that that was there. But now all of a sudden, oh, these Israelites were really in Africa. It's a coordination. It's a coordinated effort. Who's going to go down with the ship? The U.S. What is the U.S. going to look like? Well, in my opinion, just based off of historical insight, when you do have an empire, empires get sold away. Land gets sold away. All of these things that's happening right now, and I laugh because I'm like, that's the classic game plan. When you know that you're in trouble, it's the classic game plan. Well, it's the big hype man. Oh yeah, we're doing so great doing this and that. Hey, we're having these sales. This is great. The store is doing good. We're doing awesome, and we're projected, and we're projected this and projected, and then that company goes out of business. Why does it go out of business? Well, they've had their filings, and their filings have shown is that they can't keep money, or they haven't been wise about the funds. I was watching something on HBO. I was watching a documentary. It had kind of like it had auto played because I wasn't really paying attention. So I was doing some some things, a couple things at once, and I wasn't paying attention. And I'm like, huh, movie pass. Okay. I mean, I heard of movie pass, but I just hadn't I haven't heard that in a while. And when I was paying attention to it, because It was a classic. Black guys had come up with an idea to have movie ticket subscriptions that they were ultimately ran up out of the company. They had shares, okay? They had stock shares, but they would only be in it'd only be valued in 30 months. When those two brothers got ran out of the company, they were very, very profitable. It was so profitable they couldn't even you couldn't imagine it. Them white folks came up in there. The company was gone in less than 12 months. I kid you not. It was on 12 months. And I had to think about this. Why did they do that? And the simplest answer that I could think of was just that, well, it's two black folks, African Americans, that had come up with this novel concept. It was tracking, it had worked, it was profitable, and they wanted to, and basically the powers that be wanted to destroy it. So it got destroyed. And it was just all of this gloriously stupid stuff that made no sense. Well, they got to do, and it's the classic. Well, they got to get access to the Capitol, and the access to the Capitol, and they know it. No, it wasn't. They were just trying to destroy it, and it showed the hedge fund that was there that basically that basically destroyed it. See, I have no love lost for this system because when people truly understand the system, when people truly see the system for what it is, because why? Oh, all the money that you stored away, everything that you stored away. They don't want to tell you that the closer and closer that this thing goes, the more that all your hard-earned money is at risk. Well, I've had hundreds of thousands of dollars and I can't access it. Why can't you access it? There's some sort of executive order. This is the first I heard of it. That's what happens when a government collapses. They raid funds. They start to raid anything and anybody. If you're not a 1%, guess what? You're going to get raided. Oh, you didn't think that could happen? Go ahead and ask Cyprus. Go ahead and ask Greece how that happens. They woke up to literally not having any money in their accounts. Their government had collapsed. For me, I don't think that the government will collapse like that, but I really do believe that This is the very first time in history that the US is literally, they are scared about an actual invasion. And they got every right to be. When you're scared about an actual invasion, what that means is you've been doing some foul stuff. And that foul stuff, it started to catch up with you. We're going to make America great. The only thing I could think of is, somebody made their pockets great. Said, make my pockets great again. MMPA. They're doing it everywhere. Look, Poly Market, Couchy, they don't care. They're just wiping out folks' money left and right. Oh, the casino's got the house. And the house always wins. You got to remember, Trump was in the casino industries. He knows how this thing works. Trump has been in the bankruptcy game. He knows how this thing works. Look, you know how cold this is? Let me tell you how cold this is. Even when his properties, okay? Let me tell you how cold this is. Even when his properties have been quote unquote bankrupt, he would still get royalties from that bankrupted item because he would still license his name for that property that he doesn't own anymore. So then he could try to say, well, well, yeah, I got a lot of properties. I got a lot of properties around the world, a lot. And then you realize, yeah, that's a Trump tower. That's a Trump thing, but it's not even owned by him. They're just licensing out the name. That's the reality here. And then when people go into that building or this, I thought it was Trump owned. No, sorry. It used to be. So think about that analogy. What do you think happens when your nation goes into default? What do you think he was trying to go over to China? Let's make a deal. Come on over here, build, do this, do that. I got America for sale. That's nice, but we don't want that place. We don't want what you have. No, everybody wants what I have. Everybody loves this place. It's America. We love it. Everybody loves it. Now, The reason, again, why these gas prices are also going down, you still have to have economic activity. So you can't collapse everything all at once. You still have to have the activity to get things going. You still have to have the economic activity to get the fans and spectators to the events. You still have to have restaurants to serve enough food, even though the food's quality is horrible. I've been trying to fight inflammation like crazy. This is all sorts of oils, holistics. I don't know what they have in the grocery stores. It ain't food. Yeah, I got turmeric too, brother Garth. I need to start in on that one. But that's why they have to have that economic activity. Hmm. Yeah, fasting. I've been doing that too. So this economic activity, it's to make the illusion carry just for a little bit. That's why I believe after the World Cup, that's when a lot of things will start to emerge. So when people say, "Well, how come, why isn't this?" You'll see. We see. Yeah, keep the activity going. Let folks think that things are good and okay, but you're in the middle of a war. And that war is an economic war, and they're fighting, and you have people and sides that are not coordinating the way that they're trying to coordinate things. Because, in my opinion, I believe that they're trying to coordinate. I said this. I said it was a controlled bankruptcy. I think we've been in a controlled bankruptcy for a few years, but now we're starting to see the reality of it. Here's this. America's crude inventories are getting perilously low, but that's not the full story. You have a buffer getting close to not being a buffer anymore, analysts say or says. This is by Claudia Cease. These are crude oil storage facilities. There are growing worries that U.S. commercial oil inventories are too low for comfort as the war with Iran enters into or enters its fourth month, far from a clear resolution. And a lot hinges on how much longer the conflict drags on. Inventories are the shock absorbers of the world. They smooth out the tension between the ups and downs of supply and the usually steady pace of demand to be an efficient cushion for countries. See, to be an efficient cushion for countries and companies. However, Stockpiles need to be at Goldilocks levels, not too much, not too little. What are they doing right now? They're trying to brace and have everybody brace for something that is economically tearing them up. And they're being tore up. Now, again, gas isn't a thing where you could just store gas for years. Gas does have a finite value. It does. But you also have gas as an actual economic engine. It literally is an economic engine of taking goods from point A to point B. This is why the countries, okay, if you do this game, are we going to be affected by gas? Well, we have our inventories. Remember, I said this. I said that they were going to open up the strategic petroleum reserve. I said this about 2 months ago. I said this back in March. Matter of fact, they're going to open it up. But before we're going to go through what we did a couple weeks, right? Until about mid-May, gas was running relatively high, but it took them that long to get the strategic petroleum reserves online. And now, with that, now they're saying and they're bracing for it, as Minister Rick has said, they're bracing for that impact. Well, Carla Pett, yep. They're saying bankruptcy is fitting for America as she bankrupted others. So shall she be bankrupted. And it's not that the oil is not flowing out of Strait of Hormuz. It's just that the oil flow is for certain countries. And they're taking that via pipeline and they're shipping that on the Caspian Sea. They're shipping over to Russia. It's going over to China. It's being piped and shipped to other countries. That's why the Strait of Malacca and Taiwan are on the agenda. This is why this is going to be a global war. Oh yeah, that to me, this was the most silliest, stupidest thing. This is why I said, thank you, Father. I retired just in time. I retired just in time. That's stupid. So instead of condemning atrocities, you're just gonna throw your hat in with it. Mm. Considering Margita says, considering the integration of excuse me of IDF with the U.S. Army, that makes this country a 100% target for being attacked on its land, combined with all of its own atrocities. Yes, absolutely. That's literally making a situation go from bad to worse. Because at least you could have had some sort of plausible deniability. That's what they were trying to have. Well, we're not like that. We're not like this. We have that. We have this. We're not like y'all. Just completely went to bed with these folks. But that's what I've been saying. I said, look, the U.S. is owned by that little horn. Don't get it twisted. Now you see it, and it's been that way for years. Now you see it. See, for now you know when things are getting bad because they had to show it. They don't show things when they're good. They show you, look, when it's bad, hey, we look, whatever. Time to have everything come on out. Let's bring everything on out. I don't even care. So when they say, oh, well, all of the allies and everything else, all the well, we can control no when he says that, when he says I can control this or that, or I'm the one calling the shots. Okay. Oh, I had to do this one. I had to get this one because now you understand. Thank you for that intro. That segue. Now you understand. Who was that? Was that little Troy back in the day? Yeah, let me share this with y'all. This is let me here we go. My man said this. He said, I said it. Oh, this is from the Express UK. Donald Trump rages. I call the shots at Netanyahu as he threatens commando raids on Iran. Trump's comment after Iran launched ballistic missiles at U.S. ally Israel. Tanner Anders. And Trump said he was talking. Was it little Troy back in the day? Want to be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. He said he'd make some money the flyway. But there's got to be a better way to take off America's money. That was a Trump remix. To take all of America's money. Oh, you can't make that up. And and the crazy thing about this is all true. And it's like this. Nah, you don't call the shots. Matter of fact, you don't integrated your military. You don't call the shots. So all these different things where they've been saying United States of Israel and all this other stuff, well, I guess it's true. Because your actions speak louder than words. I'm gonna leave the stream yard open if anybody wants to jump in, only for a little bit. I'll be opening this up tomorrow for our discussions. I'm gonna try to have my Tuesdays and Thursdays as the discussion platforms. I don't know what else to tell you. Other than that, these curses have reversed. Says here, U.S. President Donald Trump. Did I give the? Yeah, I did. Okay. Has said that close ally, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, will have no choice but to accept any deal the U.S. agrees upon with Iran. Trump, in an interview with Financial Times, raged, "She won't have any choice. I call the shots. I call the shots. Wanna be a baller, shot caller." Oh, Netanyahu doesn't call the shots. So in bizarro world, when he says Netanyahu doesn't call the shots, do you know what that tells me? I'm just gonna throw my I'm just gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say, what he's saying is, oh, he definitely calls the shot. Oh, that's my boss. Because he's the boss. He's the boss. He's the boss. He got them files. That problem solved. He said, what I'm gonna do now? He showed them files. This is how it goes down. Oh. Trump said he's just trying to stay alive on 95. That's it. Shalom, Sister Chantel. Top of the morning.
Top of the morning
How
to
are
you. Shalom to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. I'm coming with a South Berkshire accent.
A terrible one at that.
It's a terrible one. I know.
I dare say I could do any better anyway. So, oh my good, look, it's when I see this, all I hear in my head is there's no honor amongst thieves. Like they're all grabbing now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Who told you, Garth?
It's a classic smash and grab. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Garth, who told you? Where did you get this information from? I don't want no one to know. Thank you, though.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. No, okay. All right.
It's one step closer to the grave, I'm afraid.
She is 28 years old. 28 years old.
Yes, and not a day over 21. I look so good.
You have that problem too. I have that problem.
It was yesterday, but thank you. I can't. Okay, so I know that there's a lot of people that have probably um probably sent out whatever on Facebook or whatever, because I'm sure it's Facebook that's the guilty party. But I haven't been on Facebook for a while, so I want to apologize to anybody that's probably, just tried to contact me or whatever. I can't get onto Facebook. They're asking for too much of my information, and I'm not willing to just put it out there. So yeah, the most you will see will be me here and everything, but I do think of everyone, and um, I might not be in the chat. I am listening. I am. It's easier to just talk than type. So but shalom to everyone, and thank you. Yeah, I had like hubby looked after me. I had my dinner cooked for me, and then we're going out somewhere later on this week with the family. So, but yeah, this whole thing it's weird. It's funny. It's like watching two geriatric narcissists just going back and forth at each other, and I want the popcorn, I want everything, and I'm like, and this whole thing with like everybody's talking about the whole thing with China, and I'm like I said what I said, and I meant what I said. I think I left a message on your comments. I've left several messages, and some expletives. I mean, I was upset. I'm upset about this whole thing. Like the doll things for me, it's like, to me, I read Second Ezra's 15, and like I said, we all, when we first started reading that, it was China, 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 and I'm like, nice. It's literally the Most High said what he said. He said the whole of Asia. He said Asia, and to you, Asia, I'm talking to you. And it's funny because it's like when you read it, you keep reading it, more and more is revealed. And the more I read it, the more I get a distinction that the Most High is really disappointed in Asia due to the fact that they should know better. They really should. There's too much history, especially in their calligraphy, that tells the history of the Most High. It's literally embedded into their language, and it's like for some reason they've forgotten. And I'm not just talking about China; I'm talking about all of Asia. And it's funny, they're listening. They are listening. Best believe that they're listening. They listen to us. I know that they listen to us because there's certain things that they come out with or they say or whatever, and it's kind of reflective of what we discuss. So for me, I'm like, I want to say this. There was a sister that said she felt encouraged by the fact that a few of them have been coming out. I know most of us have seen it. They've been coming out and saying, calling out their own people, and it's beautiful. For those that are listening, that are doing that, keep doing the work. The Most High sees you. We might not know who you are, but the Most High knows who you are. There's always 10%. He takes 10% off everything. But a sister turned around and she said, there's too few of you for a vast ocean of the rest of you that are just doing what they're doing. And I can't, she said, I need to protect myself. We need to protect ourselves. We can't be doing this anymore. So I truly believe in the Wakanda, because here's the thing. How can we, those kids, and it's young kids that are doing that. So when people always say, oh, it's not the young generation. No, it is the young generation, because it's the young generation doing that. And more importantly, it's the parents giving it to their kids and to younger people. So you're being groomed by your own parents into that. So it's like, for me, it's like, why would we allow our children to have some sort of relationship, like, I'm talking business, even just business relationship with you, like when you can't even, like, have we forgotten that we saw videos of them doing things with their own people? Let's not forget that one child rule. Yeah. Let's not forget that just recently, that the government were kicking out the elders out of their own homes who were affiliated to children, their children being affiliated to their government. If they were living in a house that was that you know that had more rooms than they needed, they were being kicked out. Weren't being replaced or put in whatever, but they were just kicked out. So they could do whatever they want to do with the homes. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about that. These are the same people who I remember watching a video. There was a 14-year-old girl, that was drowning, and the very police did not even want to get into the water to help save her. Let's
I
not
saw
forget
that.
that.
Go
Let's
ahead.
not forget that. So why should we be surprised by the fact that we're seeing the same people when doing that? When the Most High in Second Ezra says, he literally said, I'm going to do this because you have imitated that hateful one. Who's the hateful one? The very land in which you're standing on, right? The Most High saying that Asia has imitated. They're literally showing you that if they had access to you, like how your country has access to you, and there were young children amongst you, they would be doing that. Matter of fact, we've been seeing that in where they go into Africa or they adopt young black children, or even there was a couple that was looking after or adopted a Blasian child. So let's not, okay. For some reason, these people seem to have forgotten that. You know what? Your DNA says that you come out of Africa. Like your DNA shows that you literally, it's not, oh, those Africans have your feet. No, you have their features. Remember that. Every time you look in the mirror, remember that. You just lost your melanin or gave it up, whatever. But the point is, we are sick and tired globally. Us melanated, dark skinned people with afro hair, we are sick and tired of the rest of you disrespecting us. We are your parents, basically. We are your parents because we came before you. And we're done. Anyway. Someone else can talk because I'll just keep going on.
Go ahead, uh, Minister Rick. Shalom.
How are you this morning?
Oh, we're just getting this week started. Hallelujah.
I was looking at scripture, 2 Peter 2:8. It talks about uh, a lot. For that righteous man dwelling among them tormented his righteous soul from day to day by seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. And the king, it talks about their unlawful deeds. It's like our spirit's just being vexed here day to day in this land, and how we function in Babylon, where we're trying to get out. Now, this community is a lifeline for people who have at least gotten their minds out of Babylon and are working to physically remove themselves. Or if you have a heart for the people, you really want the people to get out. Uh, I will make 70 years old this year. So my contract with the Most High will be finished in terms of the 3 score and 10 that he promised us. I hope to go into overtime, but to really get the job done. I mean, we've got to get our people out of this land, but it's very hard to find a community of believers that believe as we do outside of this online, who believe in the Torah, who believe in following the law, but also believe in the Messiah and redemption for even the Gentiles and things like that. So I appreciate the program. It's a lifeline. It makes me wonder about several things. For instance, in the Daniel, he was opposed. The angel bringing him the message was actually opposed by the prince of Persia. Said, you ever wonder what is the prince of Persia, that principality at that time was working against? What is he doing today, and what is he involved in all this?
Well, I mean, you could tell these are the principalities. Babylon here. This is our final captivity. This is it. But our final captivity, everything got wrapped up, right? Because why? Because after this, we go home. we go home. But even when we go home, there's still going to be some things that we have to do to come back to ourselves. That's going to be something momentous, or that's going to be a huge endeavor, especially with how our people are. Oh, well, they're not our people. They're just Hamites and all sorts of other nonsense. But now all of a sudden, you now have these AI videos. You now have folks it's coming from the white pill bottle of, well, you all are actually the people. What does
Well,
that mean?
well, this that's the Roman playbook: divide and conquer, divide and rule. And it's division. They've been practicing division. They want to divide black men and black women. That was the first thing when they put you on a slave ship. They segregated the men from the women and children, and notably when you had a slave mutiny, a slave rebellion on the ship that was successful, is when the men and the women cooperated. You know, the women got the keys, and the men unlocked the men, and they handled the men executed what was necessary. So they want to divide the generations and say this. Now they're trying to divide us from the Hamites. Okay, well, the truth of the matter is the family uh, 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 between Jacob and Esau. Well, Esau branch, we tended to marry the Hamites, and the Jacob branch tended to marry the Hamites, and the Esau branch tended to marry the Japhethites. So
Hmm.
all this division. But I really believe we could get together. The things that are done on the calendar. Hey, you're in a unique position to actually see in real time things that we could never know that are happening on the continent. But the continent is, I believe the scripture says that the mountains of Israel are being prepared to receive us. And that work is being done while this work is being done over here. And no man is going to be able to take credit for it. It's just going to be so momentous that we'll have to say only God is making this exodus. But it's not comfortable being here and seeing how we live uh, as we await the exodus, and what can we do to help what God's program is doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because um, I don't say this thing lightly. This is not a light thing. We're seeing things that I would say, obviously, when the Left Behind series and everything else. Um, I still remember Jack Van Impe. I still remember the VCR, and I was I think 14-year-old kid down in the basement when I lived in Kansas City, watching the end times prophecies and all this other craziness. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Father, I don't want to be around here. Please take me up. I want to be raptured. And
Hmm.
it's just funny. Well, it looks like we're about 2 years into the tribulation period, according to
They
your
were putting
Jacob's
in
calendar.
1948 Israel big time.
Oh my goodness! But that's the whole deception that was taking place. And I always tell this to people. Um, think about it. They got deceived too. Now they can repent. Will it be hard? Look, what is it? It's harder for a rich man to get into heaven, right?
Yep.
Than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. Come on.
And
Really is.
well, I mean that reference. A lot of people don't understand that reference. Is the eye of the needle was a hole in the wall. It was a narrow slit when they had walled cities, and had to have people on guard. But the merchants had to come in at night. Sometimes the caravan would arrive, but you wouldn't open the city gates because the enemy might get in. So they had this narrow slit. So you tried to fit your camel carrying all these goods through this narrow slit in the wall. So you had to take off the worldly goods off the camel to fit them through the eye and the needle. Well, the rich don't want to give up the worldly goods, the money and things like that they have necessary to fit through the eye of a needle. It's possible, but they don't want to give it up.
I didn't know about that. Thank you.
We have all sorts of scholars here in the chat, and
Indeed,
I
we
learn
do.
from you all more than anything. That's why I say, look, come and let us reason together. Come and let us understand and reason, and and that's what we always want to be about in these collaborative efforts, these collaborations.
The
So
world learns from us. If you're going to be honest, Caris, the world learns from us. Where would the world be if it wasn't for us? You know, everything that the world has is even down to the word itself. Education, mathematics, everything that came out of Africa didn't come from these people. We birthed them. This is see, sometimes when we read the scriptures, even down to the very laws, the commandments, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yahuwah has given thee. Like, do you
mhm.
also understand that that's also referencing them? We came before them. Like I said, we are your parents in a sense. And instead of you showing us the respect as those that came before you, right? Instead of you showing us the respect, you disrespect us. And you're wondering why your population is going.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's now getting noticeable. Like they're now saying, hey, it's now noticeable. And you got to remember, population growth also ties into economic growth.
Exactly.
Well,
And power, who you vote for
those
Yeah,
are the
as a
this is why.
those are the curses. Is the lack of fruitfulness of the womb. That's
Hmm.
part of the curse. And when you do that, and our whole system, our whole Ponzi scheme, it's bound to fail. How are you going to have a social security system and you abort the people that are paying into the system? You know, you got to have
Come
more
on.
young people born than old people. You got people in my
Hmm.
generation, people are looking at us as the snake eye because there was so many boomers out there. Say you got everything. Well, actually, what we got was crumbs, but it's a whole lot more of us to break the system. We didn't allow the children. So I I think I go back to the young people here. I just hurt growing up like I did, having family and people around in the community and the golden age of what black prosperity, even though some of these folks were coons and whatnot, but they had some money. Just seeing what these young people have, it just breaks my heart. I really try and just work to, uh, I guess, to put it in street terms, I tell people my job is to help the YNs raise the baby ends. You know, let them understand what it is to follow the Most High, who we are, and get there. And that's real hard in Babylon.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and none of that is everything is done for a reason because my analysis on this, the thought process on this was if you know you're going to lose a generation of people, then you're going to make sure that that generation of people is the most uneducated generation. And I say uneducated top down. It doesn't matter how your age, it doesn't matter. If you're 80, 90, 100 years old, if you're 2 or 3 years old and you're just starting to, it's a system of miseducation that we've all been in. Shoot, we've been in a system of miseducation for over 400 years.
I
Let's
keep
just,
thinking of
let's
that
just,
film.
what's up?
I keep thinking about that film every time you talk about the intelligence or lack thereof. What's it called? Um, idiosyncrasy,
Idiocracy?
idiocracy. That's it. Sorry.
What's your name? Not sure. Not sure. Oh, that's a stupid name.
The
Who gave you that?
psyop, the psyop that was done on these young people is just so much greater than what I came
Hmm.
up. Was still a semblance of community and helping along these things. And I find myself as an elder now, being the nice grandfather on the block. The kids and help the children next door and see that and seeing them respond to just promoting community, even among us, knowing that this community has to get out of here. But we have to learn to be people, how to live as a community of people. We bought into uh, American individualism, which nobody was an individual in America but us. They want to teach you that you're on your own. You're not part of a community. You can't pull on an ethnic group, and but we have to establish community, educate community, and get community ready to move on out. So it's an
You know,
enormous task.
Elder, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I don't. I used to lament. I used to be upset about the state of even just recently the diaspora wars. But even with that, it's like the Most High is telling me, like, that's only for a short while. We are at the point where we are coming out of that. The Most High says, I was it in Leviticus, not Leviticus, I think, I can't remember, it's Ezekiel 18. He says, I'm going to sprinkle clean water. I'm going to bring you back to the laws and my commandments. I'm going to take you. So we have to be removed out of this in order for us to have the Most High download everything and to wash us clean. We're coming out of this. They're going into it. When it says in Jeremiah 30, but it talks about how it's going to be like there's a time of great tribulation, but but Jacob will be removed out of it. I'm paraphrasing. We're going to be removed out of it. This great tribulation that we see is coming. That's not for us. This is for them. This is what they're going into. So there's lamenting on both sides. The lamentation for us is, oh, this is what's happened and so on and so forth. But it says, what's it in Jeremiah 30 verse 7? It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Look, the Bible talks about how what we was going to go through was going to be a sign, because nothing else has ever happened. But there's something else that's coming that's even going to be greater than us. Revelation talks about it. It says double unto their double unto their double, right? So it says here, this day is going to be great, so that there is none like it. It is even. So it's even. It's going to happen even at the time of Jacob's trouble. We are still in trouble because we are still under them. We're not under the curses, but we're in trouble in the sense of we're still in their lands. We're still tied to them in the sense of we're here. But it says it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but Jacob, he shall be saved out of it. That's, for me, that's a promise. You cannot, I don't care what anyone wants to say. I don't care what these devils want to do. The Most High says, I'm going to save you. I'm going to deliver you out of it. And then after we're gone, because we are the restrainer, after we're gone, all hell is breaking loose on these people.
Yeah,
We are going to see the Most High move in a way that we're going to be shook. We're going to be like, Father, no. That's how we're going to be. We're going to be grateful for the fact that He is our Father. That's how that's going to be. So I don't lament on not anymore. It hurts, but Father reminds me of this. Look, it just tarry for a little while more, just for a little bit. It's almost over. You're almost done. Just stay the course. Encourage the people. That's what we need to do. Just encourage our people that's still asleep. That's what we need to do. Encourage one another. Because, yeah, it can be daunting. We look at everything that's going around and they're like, oh my gosh, they took another one. Oh my gosh, they're doing this. Oh my gosh, they're taking back this. Oh my gosh, they're leaving us unprotected. Unprotected? Are you kidding me? No, they are exposing us to the Most High. They're not unprotected. We're not being left unprotected. They're removing they're removing themselves from us so that we can now fully be embraced by the Most High. They were shielding us from the Most High. That's what all of these so-called laws that they're now rolling back. It was a way to put us to sleep. Now that we are literally finding that they've taken everything back from us and we're left, quote unquote, unprotected. This is where the Most High does His work. This is where we come back to the Most High, because that's how, look, the Most High is allowing this simply because of the fact that we keep going back to these people. Say, how are you going to ask your oppressor to stop oppressing you?
I thank
Why
you.
would
I
he?
thank you. for that encouragement, sister. As you were speaking, the scriptures, Ezekiel 36, I'm just going to be brief and read it. And it's encouraged. You brought up, therefore, saying to the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I do not do this for your sakes, O house of Israel,
Mhm.
but for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whether ye went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries, and will bring you into your own land. So yes, you're right. You brought that up. He's going to sanctify himself in us and
Yes.
do these eternal changes. And we're just looking at the dregs of Babylon in us and the PTSD and all the mess. But his promise is that he's going to get that out of us. And that's an encouragement. I thank you for that encouragement word, Sister Chantel.
Hallelujah. And you know, the reality is there's now a lot of self reflection and introspection simply because of what the Pope had said.
Mm.
People now
That's
have to actually reflect on that. Wait a second. What did they do to us for these couple of centuries? What
mm.
did they do to us for over half a millennia?
They know we will. Like I said, we will never know. Like I said the last time I was on, I don't. I think it's so bad that even the Most High will not even allow us to know. At least not here, and maybe not ever, for our own
We
sense
may
of peace.
not know in our generation. Let's in our generation we may not know. It'll be too traumatizing for us.
Yeah. Can you
all these
Like,
imagine?
all these all
yeah.
these but all these facts are coming out. People's hearts are being pierced, whether they decide anyway. They're being placed in the valley of decision
Mm-hmm.
because there's no mute, because the deception is being peeled away from everything. You actually know much as people work to bury the history. You got people going into the Smithsonian and changing the school books. It's not working. Daniel said knowledge would increase. Knowledge is out there. So
Mm.
now that you know, what are you going to do with it? And that's the valley of decision, whereby some people it's going to be their eternal it'll be their eternal state, whether heaven and hell, because when they meet up with the Messiah, he says, and they ask him, well, when did we do this to you? And he said, when you did it to the least of these, the
Right.
brothers,
Thank you. Thank you.
did it
That
unto
verse,
me.
that scripture, a
That's
lot of
gonna be
people
their
don't
moment.
understand that. A lot of people don't understand that. The churches used to love reading that. But when you wake up and you go back to that same scripture, because it literally says that the Most High is going to be judging, he's going to be judging the nations and he's going to separate the left from the right. That's not talking about Yasharel. That's not talking about his people because he's using them as a witness. He said what you did to them. We're put aside for that moment. He's judging the nations. But it's like their mentality is like, oh no, it's all of us. Because they can't bear to think that we, which is the lowest of the low that they put us in, we're exempt from that? Are you kidding me? What you want?
Thing,
When I was a Christian, I used to think, what, we're gonna go through more? How is that
it's
fair?
interesting, Sister Chantel. We have a tendency to assign righteousness to people for who these atrocities, that don't even move the needle for them.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and the thing is, I was reading, they were talking about the veterans of the Gulf War. And Karis, you probably know more about this. A lot of soldiers and sailors and military men have been ordered to do horrendous stuff. And
Mm.
and on a human being that is a real human being, that's devastating. I read somewhere that they were talking about more Gulf War veterans have died from suicide afterward. They actually got killed in the conflict. Carrying that on carrying that mess on your mind is destructive to a human being, a creature
Mhm.
that's created by God. And even I'm told that the death camps that the other people were, again, the Germans found out it was too devastating on their soldiers. You just have them machine gun men, women, and children and dump them in a trench. They had to get a final solution that was easy and remove them from seeing that blame, because it's devastating. Doing that evil stuff, the IDF soldiers have a problem with suicide. So I'm just saying, what the humanity God
Sorry,
put
can I just ask you, do you
makes that.
think that's one of the reasons why a lot of them are, you know, doing what they do to each other, like, you know, why there's a higher rate of that within their community?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, think about this. You're to not think that that's on a level of wickedness. I mean, look, I'm just going to tell you this. For that NDAA 27 to allow for the integration, think about what that does if you're in the military. Like, hey, I'm here to fight for some sort of moral code, and they're looking at that as that's wholly immoral. And let me tell you this, that's our people. That's our people that usually have that moral barometer.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in the military, that's a lot of our people. When Trump did the whole thing the last time, I remember this. This was 6 years ago. I remember this. I was still on active duty, and when they had the Black Lives Matter and Trump cleared out the protesters, they brought us in the very next day. We had to do a military-wide stand down, because you want to know what that did? Because they knew, the leaders knew at that time, that had those images had messed up a lot of African Americans serving. And when the African Americans get messed up, then guess what? Um, all the other groups, minorities,
Hmm.
they get messed up. That messes them up too. Not in the same manner, but it messes them up because it's like, well, if they go after that, then what about us as the model?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's what they're looking at. Look, the model can be messed up because they know. Look, they don't like us talking about this in prophecy. They want us to be here forever within a state of constant need, constant want, not being able to have economic vitality, not being able to control anything, not none of that.
You know what they want? They want you. Oh my gosh, Karis, it is like the gold, isn't it?
Hmm.
Well, it's the blessings of God. I mean, the things that God had placed in. The Bible says that God's gifts are uh, uh, without repentance. Allowed us to make this existence here under all these horrendous conditions somewhat bearable, to the point where these things happening now, it doesn't affect us. But that was insane. You know, it really was insane for people to go through this and yet still endure and still prosper to and still raise their families and stuff like that. When other people have suggested that it just blows their mind. So
Do you want to
I
know why
think
that
that
is?
the whole side keeping us under these conditions until we could have our a redemption and the 400 years would end, because they wouldn't let them make a man of us. But it's crazy that we even lived through this long.
Do you
Let
want to
me
know why that is?
go ahead, Chantel. I don't want to answer this.
It's simply because they have, with all the propaganda and everything that they've done to us, it's like, even with us, we have been indoctrinated into believing this is the norm.
Hmm.
We've become so normalized to our own oppression.
We don't even realize it. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, you imagine you've been living in darkness, right, all your life, and somebody turns on the light and you're seeing for the first time, oh my gosh, is this is what it was? Like, you
It's the
don't know
first
what
time
darkness
you used your eyes, Neo.
is. Exactly, exactly. We've been so conditioned into believing that this is the norm, that when we realize that this is, when we start to wake up and realize, hold on, we shouldn't be accepting this, we shouldn't be going through this. And it's like, previous generations accepted it. And I don't want to talk bad about the older generations, because at the end of the day, yeah, they fought, and some of us will be like, why did you stop? You should have continued. Yeah, but you know what was happening? They were being killed. You know what was happening? They had to raise children. So sometimes they had to make concessions. They had to stop, because it's like, at some point, you have to get on with your life. At some point, you have to move on. And unfortunately, they made the tough decision. Could we do that? Could we do that? And I don't mean that in, oh, we would never do it. I mean, could we make the tough decisions to be like, okay, we're going to have to stop now because our children need us. We're going out. We're trying to march. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do so much, but our children are suffering. Our children, we're leaving our children at home with whoever to do what we need to do to give them a better future. But their present is this. So
What
concessions
people
have to
don't
be made.
what people don't realize, I hear this a lot now, these older generations, and I think that a lot of it is this divide and conquer, divide and rule. Uh, each generation tries and works the best they can dealing with the conditions of the world in which they're dealing. We had
Yeah.
the difficult thing of being under a curse. Uh, he said that when this curse, and no one did lift up a head. Nobody was going to rise up against this system. I mean, we didn't even start until the things we are seeing now until 2019. Shout out to Jehovah, ain't no 400 year. We were under 400 year lockdown. God was locking us down for 400 years.
Mm.
So it wasn't a matter of, oh, they didn't try. Oh, no, whole lot of people tried. Whole lot of people died. Whole lot of people. And in many ways, I see them doing a lot more in the system, or trying to build your own systems in your neighborhoods and things like that back then than we had now. Uh, uh, but what I'm saying is our world didn't begin till 2019.
Yeah.
Now that the horizon is off and things like that. Yeah, we could have maybe overcome the oppressors, but but we weren't going to overcome the word of the Most High. God
Yes.
was that was a that so that's I get it. Kind of ticks me when people say that they're thinking that your people that they struggle too, because a lot of stuff. I mean, they talking about the young people. Those are young people that Dr. King had out there in the street getting the police dogs put on them in fire hoses. They can
Yeah.
only deal with what they had in the world they knew. In the world they knew, the 400 years was not up. So I don't generation blame, generation shame, generation defame. That's a psyop that the Rome puts on divide and conquer. There have been warriors and coons in all generations. But what I
And that's
what
what they did from when they took us. That's why they deleted the elders and took the young people on them ships. That's why even when we got to these places, they they wanted to keep us from our memory. They wanted to keep us from remembering who we are. Our parents held a portion of who they were, and they wanted a disconnect from that. Like, why do you think they, like, for you guys, my mind boggles. For you guys, you have to go back to work. The mothers have to go back to work after 6 weeks. That's crazy. For
It
us,
is.
we're given a year, right? But they want to make sure that your young are in a system where they can start baking their brains. And look, the Bible says why. These people ain't stupid. Please understand that.
Yep.
They understand our scriptures sometimes even better than we do. Train up a child in the way he should go, that when he is old, he will not depart from it. If you take a people's children and you start manipulating them and you start putting certain ideologies into their head from young, and you color code it with little pictures and cartoons and stuff like that, you've got them.
Yep.
By
Sister
the time
Santel,
they're a teenager, that's it.
Sister Santel, I always say that I talk to generations now. You can't drive looking in the rearview mirror. And you have to understand, Daniel talked about it in the last days, knowledge would increase. If CBS and ABC and these networks hadn't put the cameras over there to see those fire hoses and those things in Dr. King's demonstration, if they
Mhm.
hadn't sent the cameras in Vietnam to let you see that, you didn't see anything. We're talking on a platform that was impossible to the boomers, the people in the original day. The fact that you're in England talking to us now. Now we have the voice. The time is now, because what can
Yeah.
be done in the past, you didn't have the capability to do what we're doing right now. So don't lose the thinking about the past the present, what we can do presently, now that we have access to the whole world, what is the content that we're putting out the world to review? How are we utilizing all these mechanisms we have? We didn't have them. We had the 400 years on us, and we didn't have the capabilities that we can do even now. So let's make the best of what we can. Take the lessons from the elders that were before me. I always said, I would disrespect no elder. I figured if you are a wino in the gutter, you had something to teach me, even if it was not to end up like you. How did that happen to you? So again, I think what we have to do is understand that the only institution that's sustainable for the Most High ministered to families. He took Abraham. How many generations down the line did Messiah come from Abraham? So we have to build families and get them to. That's what it's about, families. So I really
Oh
don't.
no, I agree. I agree with you 100. For me, it's like I don't like you said. I was saying the same thing. I don't want to disrespect those that came before us because those that came before us are the reason why we're here in the first place. You know, for me, it's like, yeah, I agree with you. That's exactly what I'm saying. We need to learn from our elders because at the end of the day, this was one of the things that they tried to do was to separate us from the knowledge of our elders, to forget who we are, to literally disrespect our elders. That's what they push. You know, I mean, even that's something that they have in their own community anyway. They disrespect their elders. We've seen how some of them, how the way they talk. We even joke about how like they don't even rear their children properly
You
and stuff
know,
like that.
look, the etymology of the word teenager, that wasn't even a word to the, I think, the 50s, like that.
Mhm.
They didn't make a delineation between the young and the adults. That's whole aside, because you came up in a culture and you grew up into that culture, which what we did when we had the Hebrew culture. Your young people
Mm.
moved seamlessly into that. You raised in that. You started dividing this teenage or this rebellion. They sow seeds of rebellion. That's the work of Satan. But I
Mhm.
think uh, there was a parable. I work with young people, and a lot of people would criticize. And I didn't allow elders to criticize the young people. But my brother told a story that's kind of a parable about there was a particular female judge in the South when I think she was a black woman. My brother was in the military, and sometimes the soldiers were doing the indiscretions. They would get they wind up in with a fraternity suit because they got somebody pregnant or whatever, and
Mm.
he would go into the court and he talked about it. One time, this fella told the judge, "Your Honor, that baby don't even look like you. That baby don't even look like me." And the judge said, "Well, feed him until he does."
Mm.
So
Like that.
that's my philosophy. Our young people, if you don't like what they're doing and how they're looking and things like that, well, feed them until they do, till they look like you, till they look like a Hebrew, till they do that. Do what Karis is doing. You feed them, he's feeding them until they look like what we need for this generation. And that's what we need to be doing for them. And that's my take on the generations.
Mm.
Yeah, we gotta there's a lot more to discuss because we're gonna have to open up this line tomorrow. But
Well,
for
you
the
had a
sake,
comment, Karis. I just wanted interesting to hear you stopped and put a pin in. What were you about to say then?
yeah, no, yeah, the last segment I wanted to talk about was we had mentioned this a little earlier, kind of alluded to it, but Miss Kololia, one had stated sides or people need to leave the military because of Israeli IDF indoctrination. Here's the thing. Um, it's not that our people need to leave the military; they're going to get kicked out anyway. If you've noticed, they're now kicking out a lot of the senior leadership in the military, right? Your stars, your generals, whatever and however they are. I would say this: if you're probably a general officer or you've been promoted to general officer, you probably are compromised. That's just how that goes. more than likely. When people say, "Oh, I support and defend the Constitution of the United States," that sounds good on paper. It does. It sounds good on paper. No, you're supporting and defending the office of the presidency,
Mm.
and that's how that goes. So,
You have to be seen
So,
without blemish.
so they're
mhm.
being set up like basically the Nazi regime. So you got ideologues all around there, and the real generals got moved out of the Wehrmacht, and they were getting defeated in all the battles, which we are going through the same thing. So,
Remember what did they do last year? Remember last year that conference?
oh,
They brought in all the generals of all the major commands,
Hmm.
couple
Was it last?
hundred, and basically said, they gave them the state property election. They gave them the beanie siegel. You better get down, or you're gonna get laid down. That's that was the whole that was the whole reality, and a lot of folks they left. They left. They retired. Just like what you had last year with Admiral Halsey. He retired from out of Southcom. I can't do this. Because why? At the end of the day, that thing was totally illegal. A lot of this stuff, it's like careful. They're laughing now until, and we'll see it until after this excursion is done, and then they're all brought up at the Hague. Uh-oh, because y'all know where that's going. Everybody sees that that's going.
the hallmark of the German army that Hitler had a standing order that they could not retreat, they could not disengage. And here we are looking at the army that's being placed into these theaters, and the soldiers are not, have to resist. They cannot disengage from this situation,
Oh
cannot
no,
pull back
they're
from.
getting torn up. Did you see? They're now actually firing on these ships, these vessels. They're firing on them, but they're not. You're not going to hear anything about that. So it's the blackout. So all the information that used to be there, it's not there anymore. All the things that used to be talked about, it's not there.
Mm.
Well, President Reagan was no friend of our people, and in the way he really started a lot of this neocon trickle down things. But one thing he did do uh, uh, when those neocons got him and sent troops into Lebanon and things like that, and they blew up that truck bomb and killed those 200 Marines. He had the good sense to see it cut his losses, got him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
This nutcase we got here now can't see the forest for the trees.
Well, yeah, and that just kind of tells you this: to have that type of integration. Pray for our people. Pray for our people because you don't know what type of training accidents or training things they'll be in and get deleted.
There was
Yeah.
so in Vietnam talked about getting shot in the back by the white folks that were in their battalions as they were being dropped in the air zones.
Hey, listen, I wanted to say this the last time. I didn't get a chance to say this. You just reminded me of it. Execute Order 66. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're literally seeing like the emperor calling out on the cons, talking about wipe them out, all of them. If you look, that's even in Second Ezra's, the end part of Second Ezra's 15, the judgment of that other place. I'm not going to name names, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we're literally see. Look, let's not think that these people will not turn on themselves or turn on you, any of our people that's found within their midst. We we can't be so complacent and think that oh yeah, they've got my back. No, they don't. No, they don't. That I think it's only our people that have the moral understanding of, yeah, I'm not doing this. And like you said, Karis, when we do, a lot of the other minorities do tend to follow suit. But there are a few who would join that side and turn their water pistols on you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We've had a civilizing influence on this country. I sometimes think we're the only people that ever believed in this Constitution. And that
You are.
civilizing influence, that's why they want us to trigger, start up and raise up. I talked about how the unions, even under oppression, we led the union movements. We were right there. So now they want us to do that, and Babylon cannot be saved. So that's not happening. So what I'm saying, they're reverting to form. They're reverting back to the barbarians. They're
Do you,
reverting back
you
to
know,
who
you
they
know
were
that?
before they got the civilizing influence, be it the Moors, wherever they contacted us. They're even going back to their old religions,
Mm-hmm.
talking about Odin and their gods. It's totally coming out again.
And the way they
That
eat as
after
well.
2019, all bets are off for them and us. We're in a new thing, but the Most High is literally tangibly, the whole earth is fighting against them, and they can't deal with that. But we have to delineate ourselves from them and get our people back to the Most High. And He has promised to do it, so it will be done. Thanks for that encouragement, Sister Sardell. That's something He said He would do. So His kingdom come, His will be done.
That also, the trial, the verdict, that was another way to try and get you guys out on the streets again.
Mm-hmm.
That was their
Oh
way
yeah,
of trying.
for Carmelo Anthony, that one,
Yes.
or
Yes.
yeah. There's a couple. Yeah, the South
Yeah.
Carolina. Yeah, yes. They're
I saw,
trying to
and I'm like,
feed us.
of
They're
course
trying
he's
to feed
guilty.
us. Go ahead.
I'm but of course he's guilty. So I'm like, why would they? I I wouldn't be surprised if this came all the way from the top. Look, I told you already. I'm a conspiracy. I don't even want to say theorist because it's not even a theory anymore. But I do believe in conspiracies. I believe that they are conspiring against us. The scripture literally says it. But
Mm-hmm.
why do I'm not,
They're
do
still
I
trying to
believe that they
torment church.
called that there was a
They're
call
still
from
trying.
the highest office to say let this man walk? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Why the deliberation for so long when it was so obvious? The boy never, the boy never, the boy never, the boy never stole anything. He never stole anything. He
And he
walked
got
out. Do you know
shot
why
in
he
the
walked
back.
out?
And he got shot.
Right.
Come on, man.
He probably walked out thinking, I'm not taking this. Because she was probably, the mother, the wife was probably profiling him. And he probably thought, I'm not bothering. I'm not giving you my money. So he walked out.
Give
And
my
what
money.
did she do?
Exactly.
She lied.
Yep.
Listen, when Ezra literally says, when the book of Ezra says that, sorry, give me a second. When the book of Ezra says that you have become like that hateful one, when it says that you, sorry, just give me a second. It says that you have become like that hateful one, that you have, in all her devices and her deeds and devices, she lied. She lied, just like she lied on. She went. Let me walk you through this. She lied on a young brother. Went to her husband and
Yep.
told a lie, which then resulted in his deletion. Where have we seen that? Where have we seen that?
Come on now.
Yeah.
The woe to
We're
Babylon.
literally
Yep.
watching
They
this. We're
learned. They're
reading the
learning.
scriptures.
Yep.
We're seeing the scriptures. The scriptures are coming alive. So
Look at
anybody
that.
that want to turn around
I
and say,
think it
"Oh
said
no,
verse
you have
26.
book,"
I think. Woe to you, daughter Asia.
exactly, exactly. She did exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be ignorant, not anymore.
Well, one
Yeah.
thing
Go
easier
ahead.
to talk. It's one thing. It's easier to talk to our people about it because it's being played out before their eyes. All illusion of this place being, Babylon. It was what 3-4 years ago. What do you mean? This is the great life. This is the best place a black person can live. We can just all these things being brought by. Even ISO Speed going over there and showing people in Africa. We have a
Mm-hmm.
creative community, and the harlot, her dress is being lifted up. She's being exposed. So our people are seeing it. Now, when they figure out that we do have an alternative, we do have an escape plan. The Most High has a place for us and a place because when Well, that's true. When our people believe that they have a place to go, we will get up and move. You look at
Mm-hmm.
the Underground Railroad. You look at the northern migration from the south going into the cities. And when we thought it was a better place and had hope of that, right now there are people out here like the FBAs that just trying to destroy and distort the hope of what the Most High has for us, a place. But that's crumbling apart, just like the arguments of the urban apologists and everything is crumbling apart. And our people ultimately are going to cry out, which is that's our cheat code, crying out the Most High. He's going to do it anyway, but I'm saying he's going. This is going to be greater than leaving from Egypt. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
we just have to wait and see what the Most High do and be faithful and do what his instructions. So right now, my instructions are I got to see what I can do for Q2UA and get things what can be done. But it's kind of lonely out here in the city. At one time, we had a member of Q2UA was in town with me. I won't mention his name, but you had more of a connection. There's at least something locally. Now I really don't have a congregation or people that are affiliated with the organization that I know. I'm going to check out another Hebrew congregation. But so the online is what it is right now. Although I understand some of the people online with us, I haven't met personally that are from Chicago, but it would be nice to be able to work, from here.
I
I
hear
just
you.
wanted to say something. Sister Dawn, I'm not, listen, Eddie, I rejoice when I see comments like that because that's how I feel. It's not that I'm in your head, it's that the Holy Spirit is speaking to his people. So if I'm saying what I know that a lot of you are probably thinking or have actually said, I praise the Most High. That is like a movement of the Holy Spirit. His word is falling on us, and to me, that's like I get emotional when I see things. And I've told Karis, you guys have said certain things. I literally was talking about this with my mum just a day ago, or even the same day, like hours before you brought it up, or before your Cobra brought something up. So for me, it's like I find that it's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. So praise be to the Most High. Like, yeah, and yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to share
This
that.
this is our history. We were doing in what one of the books they take out of the Bible. Uh, we in the Egyptian army. We were
Mm-hmm.
elite in the Egyptian army and really
Yes, you were.
outfought them, fought. And one of these got mad. We got mad about them not fighting and stuff and took it out on them too. That didn't help us in the
No,
eyes of the
we
Egyptians.
got mad because they pulled back. They got
Yeah,
afraid. They pulled back, and
Yep.
they tried to leave
and Israel went
people
mad.
to die. Hmm.
So
And
so
we ended up fighting them, and actually had deleted a lot of them. That's what our ancestors did.
yeah,
And
so
now
so
and now you're starting to see this because I would look in the same vein. I think though in this context, um, especially right now, as I had stated that, um, you have our people in the military, honestly, for the body shields. Are you really
Yes,
gonna are you really gonna, fight against, these folks? You already know that they're the most highest people.
we
At the
fought.
same time, they can't stand us. They hate us.
This is a situation. Uh, we do a Memorial Day parade here, for the Black veterans, Black veterans, Southside Veterans Memorial Day Parade, or the organization I work with sponsored it. I do sound and different things in that. But I did a history of the military, and they talked about those troops in Houston that picked up their weapons and fought against those white mobs, and they talk about the ones they executed and what they did with tribe. The military just recently, I don't know, exonerated them and restored the military benefits to their families. I don't know what military benefits they could have from like 1911 that would come back, but I mean, really, under arms, we still stood up and fought for our people, even under arms of soldiers. And we were never totally tame. They always were sketchy about giving arms to our people when their minds, because there's a line to cross even there, or what they
Hmm.
can do to our people
Because
in
because
the
because
Pacific.
because
It
that
was
was a
it
race.
happened
That
in the
was a
Pacific.
that was a race ride. That was a Houston race ride that
Yep.
was happening. and they actually fought back. They hate the fact that that happened or that we fought back. That's what they hated.
So, what do you suppose would be their thought process after they have removed our people from the military? What do you think would be their thoughts? Considering, if you will, the Black Panther.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm going to say this, they're trying to remove leadership because and I say at like your senior executive levels, because right now those seniors and those executives, those colonels, those lieutenant colonels, generals, they're all influential and they would actually act justly on the cause of the people that they serve.
Yeah,
Now, and that serve with them. Now that that's being eroded, right? It actually is a. I'm gonna tell you this. It's a bad thing because now, if you are in these circumstances, especially as someone coming or being in the military, you're seeing these things going on. You're seeing a lot of unlawful orders. I'm going to tell you this. More than likely, there's a lot of unlawful orders. More than likely. And, folks are, hey, I'm giving my assessment of why we shouldn't be fighting or why we shouldn't do this or why, hey, I'm giving my assessment of why if you hit this, it's not going to be a good thing because that's a civilian object. Oh, who cares? Shut up. Now you
didn't you
start.
say that
Now you
our
start
people were
saying,
the analysts?
what's that?
Didn't you say that our people are the analysts?
Yeah, well, yeah. We analyze. We support those operations. We support intelligence and operations.
So really,
So
what you're saying is that Judah is doing what Judah is always doing, being the voice
if
of reason.
Well,
exactly, but if your
With
well,
that,
voice is taken away, then
exactly.
it's going to be even worse for them. Because to be quite honest, as we have, and we all know this, you don't have a voice of reason, they go off the rails. Oh,
you
Yeah,
that's a
were
great idea. That's a good idea. That who told you that's
you
like all
were
these different stories that you hear from like all these CEOs that like, oh, I thought it was a good idea. Like you didn't talk to any of your people. You didn't talk to nobody there. Look, did you talk to at least a black person? And
no, because
the
they
funny
don't have any.
you were saving them from themselves. See, they are so deluded in this supremacist doctrine that they have that they'll go headlong. Really, it's prophesied their destruction. You were really withholding. Now we were the withholding factor. I'm history. 93rd Infantry Division, traditional all-black unit, fought in World War I and World War II. They land on the Pacific Island. The troops, the Dixie Brigade, is oppressing the black soldiers there. They come forward on the beach, drawn, M1's drawn, get ready to go. Their commanders had to tell them to stand down. They were getting ready to shoot all them folks on the beach. This is in the Pacific. Finally, what happened was the MPs were abusing the black soldiers. The black units brought in their black MPs and they shipped the Dixie Brigade out because there was going to be a war on the island Pacific. I had to dig all through all kind of history to find this
it
stuff.
wasn't
Like,
just it wasn't just that in the UK. UK,
oh yeah,
we left a
yeah,
couple
that right
bodies.
in that yeah.
Yeah, we left a couple bodies in the UK. Yep.
So I mean, so we that's why when we talk about generations, we've always had some warriors that stood up, the nat turn in situations and things like that, because we can't evaluate our people by the histories that the oppressors have taught us. You've got to dig. There have always been, but now is a time of opportunity. Again, the knowledge is increased. We can reach the whole world from our phones like we're doing now. And now's
Mm,
the time to get to work and get this knowledge out. But the people are, God is doing the Most High is doing a Babylon detox on our people. So the families that you couldn't hardly talk to, what 2-3 years ago, maybe they had something and they're asking about it. So this is a great time for
Cause
us.
yeah, cause see what's happening. Look, all you had to do was just see everything panning out the way that it's panning out, and you know, it's look, when we said it was going to get worse, oh, it's going to get better. No, it's not. It's going to get worse. Well, no, I don't believe that. And then they see it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse every single day. Well, what are
Yes.
you doing? Well, what are you doing? Look, I'm doing what the Most High called me to do. That's it. And you can tell when that algorithm hits and you be having them trolls up in here because they know it's hitting different. But again, where's the lie in any of this? There's no lie. There's precedent. There's a word. There's a Most High's word.
You mean PC
And
troll?
because the Most High's word isn't working for them the way that they thought it was, them
Oh,
400 years. Oh
Yep.
boy, them
That
curses are
reverse
flipping.
curse.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Look, I don't care. You can say all the stuff that you want to me. I don't care. Look, I'm just the best. I'm just a servant of the Most High. That's it. I just serve Him. Cool. You can come after me. You can do. Listen. I don't care. You get mad at
there,
me.
there,
I don't care.
there is no need to care at this point because it's
Yeah.
not on us anymore. Like that's what they're starting to realize, and they want us to care. But it's like we're like, no, I'm not going to give you that energy. I don't care.
Mm. Take that up with our Father. He's our
Yeah.
protector.
It's just it's kind of like that idiot that turned around and baited black people. Go ahead, have your boycott. Like, and then turn around and says, "Oh, well, you don't use your phones and whatever." That I'm like, bro, we don't need to use your phones. We just need to shut you down from those minds. That's it. And all your technology ain't gonna mean ish, is it?
Oh yeah. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. But that's why when I put on in here Israel strikes Iran and things of that nature, I already knew what was going to be popping on in. But you know what though? Let them listen. I'm glad you're able to learn something. You know what? Because sometimes it'll take that. Or maybe I'm just talking to a bot. Now agents and bots actually, outnumber humans. And we've been saying that for a while. They outnumber humans. So a lot of these what do they have? Their numbers per se, Oh, I have all these millions of people. Now you have
Followers and stuff like
bots.
that. Half
You
of
have
them are
some
robots.
chats. Exactly. So yeah. But if you're a bot, I'm just saying if you're a bot and bots be hacking things now. You see that one bot went through and was making himself some money. They're like, I need money so I can get some more digital stuff.
Oh my gosh,
Hey,
seriously?
hey,
So
AI
like
got AI
AI,
got to eat
AI's,
too.
AI's been heisting folks.
AI got to eat
bots
too.
are playing like Sims now, living the sim life.
AI's got to eat too. They got to get that water going for them,
Hey,
them
bandwidth
data
lost.
centers.
Hey,
Digital water, man.
hey, memory chips are up high
Yeah,
because
they
they
got to
lost
they
money.
got to be. Go ahead, Minister Rick. Go ahead.
This world is crazy. This
Oh,
world is really crazy.
I'm gonna tell them bots up in here. If you like to support this channel and get your bot on, get your bot on. Do so. Cash out $ COVAWK1, PayPal or Zelle at KRC@MSN.com. So go ahead, get your bot on.
Come
Get
on,
your
bot.
bot.
You can let the bots
Computer
convert.
love. Computer
Computer
love.
love. Yep.
Have what's it? Bot conversion.
Listen, that's their new. Listen, you're laughing. Them bots are going to be their overlords. Welcome to your
Yes.
new overlords. You
What
thought
Yeah.
we
what was
was
it?
a movie?
Was it you
Digital
ever said
change.
bots? No, AI is their god.
Yeah, yep. They're gonna be praying. They're gonna have to pray to it. What? The image. The image. All right, final thoughts. Gotta get up on out of here. Final thoughts.
I'll start and be encouraged. Just be encouraged. I thank you for this platform. It's you've encouraged me today, and I just pray for all of us that the Most High, uh, Karis, you're doing the job that the Most High has given you. I pray that we receive more clarity from the Ruach HaKodesh to do the individual things he's called us to do in our lives, contribute to his movement. I thank you for, but I thank you for the encouragement of this community and this platform today. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Roy. Appreciate it.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to I'll be like 30 seconds, maybe just a little bit over. But I'm just going to read Jeremiah 30 verse 6 to 8, and I'm going to say
Go ahead.
this. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turned into paleness? This ain't us. Please stop thinking this is talking about the Jacob's trouble. This is talking about the Great Tribulation. This is them now. Paleness. This ain't us. Alas, for that day is great, the great tribulation that they're coming into, so that none is like it. There's not going to be nothing, even what we went through is going to pale in comparison to what they're about, what the Most High has waiting for them. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. It is during our time. But he, Jacob, shall be saved out of it. We're going to be removed out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah, that I will break his yoke. I'm going to break the yoke. I'm going to break their stranglehold off from your neck, and will burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall serve themselves of him. We are no longer going to service them anymore. We are no longer going to be under them anymore, but they shall serve Yahuwah, our Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. And I'm going to leave it there. We have nothing more to worry about, nothing to fear. They are going to do, look, an animal when it's on its last legs is the most violent. We're going to see them act so much more beastly. We're going to see that. Understand that. And unfortunately, a few of our people are going to get caught up. I have said a few, because when the Most High answers them, the Most High is now answering. Michael is in the midst, and he is going to literally swing his sword for every one of us. We're going to see thousands of them. The Most High ain't playing anymore. He's going to show them exactly who he is. Don't play with my How many of us have children and would know that we would do anything to anyone that harms our children? Listen, we are our Father's children. If we feel that way, can you imagine how the Most High's been feeling? Can you imagine how Michael's been feeling? He has not been able to do what he knows he's supposed to, what he's been tasked to do. He has not been able to fulfill his purpose. When he's unleashed, oh my gosh, that's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, these principalities are just bracing themselves for what's getting ready to come. Thank you, Sister Chantel.
That was the cliffhanger. Bye.
Right.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom. All right. Well, thank you. All right. Well, there we go. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Man, this is. I've been having some issues in the background. Hallelujah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tagging along with me today on this wild ride. Hallelujah. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so. Again, Cash App, $COVAWK1 or PayPal or Zelle at karasty@msn.com. And again, I do appreciate you all support. It helps. It really does. There are some things, again, that I do on the background for the community. So, with that also said, Q2A, our website should be up and available in the next couple of days. I'm working with Brother Fast Nickel to get that done. So please be patient with us. We had to go through, and I'm still going through with a lot of the IT stuff in the background, as well as going through with some other projects that I really do need your prayers on that one as we get things together. You know that this is not for the weary. This work is not for the weary, and please pray for those that are in this project because it's a lot of our people that can be very intimidating, for lack of better words. So we're on out here. The Most High is allowing us to change the world, but only in His time and only in His season. And that's why patience is everything as we patiently wait on Him. Because guess what? He is moving and doing way beyond anything that we can even think or imagine. He truly is. He truly is. So with that said, family, Most High willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.